The foyer of Hamilton Innovation Hub gleamed like something out of a tech magazine. Glass walls, spiraling metal beams, and a constant hum of ambition. Startups lived and died here. Funding, reputation, entire futures hinged on the approval of one man, Judge Malcolm Roe, a retired High Court justice who now oversaw the country's largest public innovation grant. But nobody knew what Judge Roe looked like. Not even the applicants. For years he reviewed projects anonymously, watching how teams behaved in unobserved environments. His logic was simple. The true character of a person is revealed when they think no one is watching. Today, he was watching. Not from a boardroom. Not from an office window. But from a simple, gray wheelchair, rolling quietly through the building with a small blanket over his knees. No one knew him, but they were about to. Ethan Voss stormed into the lobby, young, sharply dressed, and vibrating with ambition. His prototype, Neuralink Aid, promised to revolutionize AI-assisted memory recall. His startup needed this grant to survive. He had rehearsed his pitch for 300 hours. Every word, every gesture. His assistant, Lila, hurried behind him, clutching documents, tablet, water bottle, and Ethan's personal demand, a perfectly heated oat milk latte. "Ethan, slow down," she whispered. "The meeting isn't for another 20 minutes. There's no such thing as being early," he snapped. "There's only being first." A slow-moving wheelchair rolled ahead of them toward the elevator. The man in it, thin, silver-haired, blanket over his lap, nudged forward patiently. Ethan groaned loudly. "Oh, for God's sake." Lila touched his arm. "Ethan." He ignored her, stepping around the wheelchair and planting himself directly in front of it, blocking the man from moving forward. "Do you mind?" Ethan said, voice dripping with irritation. "Some of us have real schedules. Move it." The older man blinked up at him. Unhurried, almost studying him. "I'm going as fast as I can," the man said softly. "Well, it's not fast enough," Ethan shot back. "This building hosts innovators, not obstacles." Lila looked horrified. People in the lobby turned. The man in the wheelchair simply nodded and reversed slightly, giving Ethan space. Ethan scoffed, stepped into the elevator, and motioned for Lila to follow. She hesitated. "Ethan, that was unnecessary. Do you want the job or not?" Lila stepped inside. The doors slid shut. The man in the wheelchair watched the glowing elevator numbers rise. He didn't look upset. He looked informed. The applicants gathered in the large glass conference lounge on the 17th floor. Anxiety floated in the air like static. The grant process was famous for being brutal, and for one strange rule. A mystery observer evaluates behavior before the pitch even starts. Nobody knew how. Nobody knew who. But everyone suspected everyone. Tech founders smiled too widely. CEOs straightened their jackets. Interns offered unnecessary cups of water. The performance began. Ethan walked in with a grin sharp enough to cut glass. "Relax, people. You can't compete with genius." Some chuckled weakly. Lila avoided eye contact. Just then, the slow rolling of wheels approached. The man from downstairs entered the lounge, still alone. Applicants parted for him politely. Except Ethan. "Oh, not again," he muttered. "Is this a retirement home or a tech hub?" A few gasps. An intern dropped her pen. The man simply maneuvered to the corner and waited quietly. Some people walked over to him with gentle greetings. Ethan rolled his eyes. "Watch, this is probably that decoy observer they use to see who kisses up." Lila whispered sharply, "You're being awful." "I'm being focused. You should try it." A woman in a navy suit entered, clipboard in hand. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the pre-evaluation stage. Judge Roe will observe your behavior in the next few moments." A ripple of whispers spread across the room. The woman continued, "As you all know, Judge Roe does not reveal himself until after he has formed his initial impression. He could be in this room right now, or watching from anywhere." Every applicant stiffened. Ethan smirked confidently. "We're good, Lila. I've got this." Lila didn't answer. She only stared at the man in the wheelchair, who now had a faint, knowing smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. A young woman carrying coffee tripped. The tray tilted. Warm liquid splashed across the floor, some of it hitting Ethan's shoes. He jumped up. "What the? Watch where you're going." I'm so sorry," the woman stammered. "Let me clean it." "It's shoes, not a crime scene," Lila said gently, reaching for tissues. "No," Ethan barked, snatching his foot back. "Don't touch me. And you," he pointed at the apologizing woman, "learn how to walk before you enter professional settings." Silence filled the room. The woman bowed her head, embarrassed. The man in the wheelchair wheeled forward quietly and handed her his handkerchief. "Here," he said softly. Her eyes welled. "Tea, thank you, sir." Ethan muttered under his breath, "Useless." The man in the wheelchair looked at Ethan for a long, calm moment. "Kindness," the man murmured, "always reveals more than credentials." "What's that supposed to mean?" Ethan snapped. But the man simply rolled back into the corner and said nothing. The navy-suited woman returned. "All applicants, proceed to Conference Hall A. The judge has completed his pre-evaluation." Lila deflated. "Completed," she whispered, "but we haven't even pitched yet." Ethan stretched smugly. "Oh please. I aced it. They're probably impressed by my confidence." They joined the line. Some applicants held their breath. Others whispered prayers. The man in the wheelchair rolled behind them. Ethan didn't even look back. The hall was massive, spotlights, glass walls, a long evaluation table. 3 officials sat behind it. But the center seat was empty. Reserved. Lila tugged Ethan's sleeve. "Why is the chair empty?" "Judge Roe always enters last," someone whispered. A staff member spoke. "The judge will now join us." Everyone stood. Except the man in the wheelchair, who rolled in from the side door. Straight to the center seat. Ethan blinked. A few applicants covered their mouths. "No. No. Impossible." The older man lifted himself slightly with the armrests, repositioned his legs, and settled behind the central judge's table microphone. The navy-suited woman announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, Judge Malcolm Roe." Silence crushed the room. Judge Roe adjusted his glasses, glanced around, and then looked directly at Ethan. Recognition flashed across Ethan's face. This was the man he insulted. Twice. This was the man whose wheelchair he blocked, whose dignity he dismissed, whose kindness he mocked. His stomach dropped into a void. Judge Roe's voice was calm, steady, and devastating. "Before we begin the pitches, I will address exemplary and concerning behaviors I observed today." Everyone's pulse skyrocketed. He began slowly. Some applicants showed patience, compassion, professionalism under pressure. He turned toward a young man who had helped the woman with the spilled coffee. "You, sir, have already advanced to stage 2. The room clapped quietly. Judge Roe continued. Some showed integrity when they believed no one was watching. His gaze shifted to the timid intern who had held the elevator door earlier. "You have also advanced." Then his tone darkened. "And some revealed the opposite." Ethan stiffened. Lila squeezed her hands until her knuckles whitened. Judge Roe continued, "I encountered an individual today who blocked my wheelchair to rush past, spoke to me with hostility, mocked me in public, and insulted others in this room. Ethan's heart pounded. Judge Roe paused, allowing the tension to thicken. This individual demonstrated precisely the type of arrogance and lack of empathy that disqualifies a leader from receiving public funding. Ethan swallowed, face pale. Judge Roe looked directly into his eyes. "Ethan Voss, step forward." Gasps erupted. Ethan stumbled forward, voice cracking. "Your Honor, I didn't know. If I had known." Judge Roe raised a hand. "And that," he said sharply, "is the problem." His voice thundered through the hall. "You should not need to know who someone is to treat them with basic human dignity." Ethan's jaw trembled. Judge Roe delivered the final blow. "Your company's application is rejected." Ethan collapsed into a chair, stunned, hollow, destroyed. Lila stared at him, sad but unsurprised. "I tried to warn you," she whispered. Ethan covered his face. "Lila, I messed up." Judge Roe, meanwhile, addressed the room again. "Leadership is not only measured by innovation," he said softly. "It is measured by character." He turned to Ethan one last time. Today was not about punishment. It was about revelation. He leaned forward. "What you revealed was who you truly are." Then Judge Roe looked at Lila. "You showed patience and restraint, even when mistreated." Lila blinked, confused. He continued, "If you ever wish to lead your own project, Miss Lila Hayes, my office will support your application." Gasps. Lila's eyes filled with tears. "Me? Sir, I'm just an assistant." Judge Roe smiled warmly. "No, you are exactly what modern leadership needs. And today you proved it." As the panel moved on to the next applicant, Ethan approached Judge Roe quietly. Not for appeal. Not for excuses. But because the weight of his actions finally hit him. "I'm truly sorry." Judge Roe looked at him, not with anger, but with truth. "If you are truly sorry," he said, "start with the next person you meet. Change begins before forgiveness." Ethan nodded slowly. For the first time in years, he actually heard someone. Lila walked past him softly, her shoulders shaking. He whispered, "Thank you for staying. For everything." She didn't look back. "You never let me," she said. But Judge Roe did. Judge Roe returned to reviewing applications. The grant moved forward, but everyone in the room left with one unforgettable lesson. You never know who someone really is, or how your actions will come back to you. Justice doesn't always arrive in a courtroom. Sometimes, it rolls in quietly on wheels.